All right, guys, good morning. Welcome back. How we doing? Happy Wednesday. Happy FOMC day. All right. Big day out there, folks. Let's get everything pulled up. Should be good to go. All right. So weird. Like, I'm looking, everything's inverse. So I'm like trying to move the mic to the left for me, and then it's to the. It's just so weird. Like, the dark horse shop. I actually was just gonna message Jackie about that today. I failed Shopify. Bought it at 36, sold it at like 90 for like 200%. And this is, again, why I don't, that's why I think Shopify might be the reason I never sell shares. Shopify was the dark horse. Shopify, the one-eyed shop bull. If you remember one-eyed shop bull, you are an OG to this chat. If you remember the one-eyed shop bull, then you are an OG to this live stream. And I say thank you. One-eyed shop bull. That was our saying back then. That was back in... One-eyed shop bull was back in October of 2022. It's been 3 years. Just think about how long we've been doing this live stream every day. Just think about that. This was back here. We were long Shopify at like 36. Sold it like, I think after this earnings, honestly. Yeah, it was. And then, bam. Crazy. Good memories. That's for sure. Oh, new shirt. Pretty sick. We got this. Amped knows who made this. Shout out Amped. Morning, everyone. Welcome back. 2 years this week. AMD. I still got some AM. I bought AMD back. Let's see. Where did I buy it back at? Where did I buy AMD back at? Where's that little thing at? AMD. 170? Yeah. All right. Uber partnership with NVIDIA? What the hell did I miss? That just come out? There's so many things being announced lately. Uber partners with NVIDIA to scale autonomous driving globally. Wasn't there news on Joby and Uber yesterday as well? Joby selected by NVIDIA aviation partner. Jeez, man. NVIDIA's just throwing out bombs. NVIDIA's just throwing out billions. You get $1 billion. I get how about the insiders? The insiders trading community partners with NVIDIA to increase trading, AI trading efficiency. How about that? Give me $1 billion, please. AI. Yeah, a lot of stuff coming out, man, and it just sorta yeah, I mean, really the question right now in everyone's mind is this AI thing actually going to result in higher revenue numbers for companies? And I think that question is starting to become irrelevant, because I think you have started to see that it actually does, right? And like Eli Lilly today, working with NVIDIA to develop an AI supercomputer, that's a pretty big company. And I don't think they would be doing that unless they thought it was useful. So, man, NVIDIA is about to, I mean, that's why it's up so much. I mean, NVIDIA is just, again, we've been, Chef knows this. Chef, you know this. We all know this. We've been talking about this. We've been talking about NVIDIA since 2021, being, what is the point of the world without NVIDIA? Without semiconductors. You remember this. So yeah, I mean, it's continuing to be proven. So that's why you're getting this move again. Insane move. Semiconductors and Fuego. That's the title of the live stream. Semiconductors and Fuego. Beautiful for the long term. Can't say that I caught it with options, which is a little bit unfortunate, but the long term is long terming. That is for sure. Big time. So that's good for us. Congratulations, shareholders. Congratulations, everyone that invests in their long term. Congratulations, and everyone that buys shares. I mean, it continues to be the way, and you can make some serious money doing that. Don't think that you can't. Don't get so caught up in short-term options trading and forget about the fact that if you just put some money into some, good companies, you would be surprised what it can turn into. Seriously. So don't forget about that part, man. You won't have to, guess what it's going to do on a daily basis. Just invest in a good company. So anyways, let's get started. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Today, FOMC, major earnings, Google, Meta, Microsoft, right? Let me pull that up. Google, Meta, Microsoft, I believe. Yep. Nope. Yes. Alphabet, Microsoft, Meta, after hours, big time earnings, big time tech, definitely important. Tomorrow, Amazon and Apple. So you have headed into the main event today and tomorrow. Main event of the earnings season for sure. And we have FOMC at 2 o'clock. So very interesting day. Should be a lot of fun. Hopefully, I know today sort of makes me feel like we're not going to have bad price action before FOMC, but typically you would. So just be careful of that. The price action before 2 o'clock today, typically not great, but there's some juice out there today again. So let's jump into it. There's definitely some juice out there. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's prepare. Let's prepare. So NASDAQ futures up again in the pre-market. Major gap up again here in the pre-market. Levels that I am watching. Let's go ahead and jump into it. First zone that I am watching on the NASDAQ futures is very clearly right here. 26,220 to 26,230. That is very clearly the first spot. Previous highs. Yesterday's highs. Overnight lows. That is, without a doubt, the cleanest level of the day right now. So previous highs into lows. Does this hold? If this holds, you are not going lower. And that, when I say that, that means prior to FOMC, right? Because FOMC could change everything. Prior to FOMC, if you hold this level, you are not going lower today. So please don't try to do it. I tried to do it on Monday, and I quickly learned my lesson. I am no longer doing that. And maybe one of the most important things to do is be able to adjust quickly. Monday, I tried to short. I realized there's no sense in shorting this move, and yesterday I longed it and made money. So, yeah, no sense in shorting this move if we're above this 26,230. That is above yesterday's highs. There's no business shorting a market that's this bullish if it's above yesterday's highs. Okay, so that's number one and very clear. If you fail under yesterday's highs, turn it into a rejection point, then maybe there is some type of a reason to look for a slippage. I got my window open today because it is beautiful out. It's like 70. What is it out? It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's not going to stay that way, unfortunately. It's 68. 68. Beautiful. What a beautiful morning. 68 degrees in Florida. There's nothing better. Yeah, this whole week, the rest of this week, high is 77, low is 68. Low is 60 on Friday, high is 76. That's when it's time to move to Florida, man. Anyways, 26,220. You break that, maybe a little bit of slippage, right? But where does that come down into? I would say right down into that close of yesterday, 26,150, and probably sees another pretty decent bounce off that level, right? So every level below that I have is going to be cautionary bounce levels without a doubt. 26,220, 26,150, and then this high here at 26,080, and the big demand that is now being watched is between 26,000 and 26,018 right here. That's the big boy spot. Now, I want to talk about something, okay? I want to talk about something, and I want you to open your ears for a second, and I want you to realize something. You are going to get a day, okay? I just want everyone to know. It will happen. It's not happening yet, but it will. Trust me, because it happens every time. You will get a day that flushes through these demands. These are not major demand levels. These are short-term 5-minute chart pivot points that are clear, and you should look to trade off them for now. But once you get that day that things start flipping, these are going to get obliterated right through it. And your job that day is to be watching price action. You cannot long these levels if the market is flushing lower and just breaking, right? That will happen. Why do I know that will happen? I know that will happen because if I look at the daily chart on the SPY, there is nothing normal about the last 3 days, okay? This is not normal. Look at this. This is not going to hold up forever. There's just no way. There will be a pullback to some extent through these 3 days at some point. Now, could it be up here, right? Could you have another daily candle like this and like this? Yeah, that's very possible. But at some point, you are going to navigate through these very low volume and very sporadic upside moves, right? Look at the volume on these moves. They are not large volume days in any sense. In any sense. So, it's a momentum move driven by very bullish action. There's nothing wrong with it. I love it personally, but I know it's going to be short term at some point. You are going to see this flip, and when it flips, you need to be aware enough to not be longing that day, because the price action will absolutely tell you that something has changed, okay? You can't just mindlessly long these levels on a day when the devil has sort of showed up. It will happen. And I hope that you are, paying attention enough to realize, hey, okay, hold on a second before I long this. This looks pretty weak. These levels are starting to break. Let me be a little bit careful here before just mindlessly longing these levels, because something has obviously changed. Okay? This will happen. I don't know when, but it happens every time. It happens every single time. It's exactly what happened on Wednesday of 2 weeks ago. Right here. This move. Okay? Right here. When everything was just sort of floating higher. Everyone was hunky-dory. Right? You get this day that just slices through everything. This day will come. Just like it always does. There's always pullbacks on a market. It doesn't go straight up. So please just be aware of that. That's all I have to say. I don't know when it will happen, but it will. And don't panic when it does. Don't panic. That's the worst thing you could do, is panic. It's normal. Expect it. It's normal. But for now, we look for the pullback longs. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens if we pull back here. And, of course, let's watch previous day low, right? These are my levels. Do we get pullback longs? Do we get deeper longs? Do we get deeper longs, right? Or do we turn things into rejections? Do we turn rejections, right? That's what we're watching to see. For now, everything has held, right? Previous high, holding. This high, holding. This high, holding. This high, holding, right? Everything's holding. So we continue to follow that until something changes. So if this holds, no reason to look for shorts. If this breaks, then it's like, okay, that's interesting. Let me see what happens at the next one. Does it hold? Do we get a reclaim ripper? Okay, back to the upside we go. All right. So just following the levels, seeing price action, how it trades through them. Right now, you can see this is a very bullish hold already in the pre-market here, just holding right above this rejection point from yesterday. So spot on hold. So today, these are the levels I'm watching, and I am just cautious of the fact that there will be a day that things start to get a little bit slippery. Not sure when, but it will. Okay? So 15-minute chart on the ES. Let's continue. The NASDAQ, by the way, is way cleaner than the ES right now. Way cleaner. The ES is a little bit sloppy. Yesterday's price action on the ES inside this range is very sloppy. Right? We have this random high that just tanked end of day. We have this high. It's not aligning at all. You can see the NASDAQ, very clean. Right? Look how clean. This high here, holding. This high right here, turning into perfect double bottom low. See how clean that is? Yesterday's highs on the ES is not creating anything clean. Look at this high. There's nothing here. It's dirty. So, a little bit dirtier on the ES, honestly. The NASDAQ actually is flowing quite nicely because tech really is leading this move, so I'm assuming that's why. But for now, on the S&P 500, this morning high right here and these holds in the overnight session, that looks to be the line in the sand for me today. As long as the ES is above 69.25, 69.27, you're going higher. Okay? Right here. Bam, rejection. Hold, 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 hold. Right here. This is the spot. Pullbacks to this spot are fine. This would be your long to be looking for if markets stay super, super, super strong. Under that, you would come back to Monday's highs, which are right here, which is the level that beautiful flip yesterday, by the way. Let me go ahead and show you this flip. Beautiful flip yesterday. Later day, though. So look, see this high? See these intraday highs that rejected? Look at this flip intraday. Spot on spot. Spot on spot. Look at this. See these highs that we rejected intraday? Look at this flip right here. That is pretty perfect. That's a pretty perfect structure, intraday structure right there. Previous rejections into holds. That's what you look for. That is gorgeous. So that's going to be obviously a level if we pull back. If we pull back today, that'll be the next level, 69.17. All right. Under that, you got 6,900 psych, which was the nice low a day from yesterday. So those are really the levels I'm watching today. 6,900 ES, 69.17, this 24.25 zone, and then, of course, these highs, previous day high and all-time high. SPY. Okay, let's go to, I mean, you have to look at it on the 5. It's just too straight up to not be looking at it on the 5. So 5-minute chart, SPY. You can see Monday's highs. That was the little flip area yesterday, around 686. You have right here this high from yesterday, turning into lows, turning into lows. That's 687. So that's a nice spot to look to see if we hold today. 687, previous day high there. Watching that. Watching 686, and then watching the 684 pre-market low from yesterday and low a day from yesterday, or around that 684.70. Those are really the 3 spots right now. The highs, previous day highs, all-time highs, 689, 689.50. If we break and hold above these today, we're going higher once again. This is a nice spot to look for a pullback, 687. That would be 69.25 ES. That would be, yeah, that would be around previous day high on NASDAQ futures, right? Right here. That would be previous day high, right here, right in this general area, right there. Pull back, look for that hold. If we go deeper, I do not mind 26.150. QQQ also been very clean alongside the NQ. I do believe that following the QQQ and NASDAQ is a little bit cleaner today. I just see it much better. You can see here on the QQQ, look how clear. Yesterday, rejection high. Look at the lows from the pre-market. Very clean. That's very clean. Rejection, hold, hold. 634.70, right in that general area. Pretty damn nice. Under that, you'd go right here. 633. Under that, you'd go right to this high at 631. All right, those are really clean spots. This high, this low, this high, this low. Right? Look how clean. So you break that, you go here. You break that, you go here. You break that, you go right here. These are all very clean spots. Nice structure on the Qs. 1, 2. This is a little bit of an expansion move. 3, 4. Look how clean those boxes are. Really nice stuff. And you're just trading it from level to level. You break one, you go to the next. You break one and reclaim it, you go back higher. You break one and reject it, you go lower. You break the next one and reject it, you go lower. You go down to this one, you bounce, reclaim the last one, you go higher, right? You're just trading off of levels. That's it. Okay. Really nice there. Let's go into gold real quick. Beautiful, beautiful rally on gold, and this is sort of what we were talking about yesterday for the relief. Did exactly that. I actually was going to long gold this pre-market. I decided not to be a degenerate, and it looks like I regret not doing that because this was a perfect pullback. Damn it. I was so close to just slamming a GC long this morning right in this zone as I was preparing for the day. I was watching this. Didn't do it. But that is why was I interested in that? Let me at least speak about it. So we talked about not shorting that aggressively on gold anymore. It's made its, say it's leg lower, leg lower, leg lower, relief, relief. It's the same thing every time. Leg lower, relief, right? That's just normal price action. Nothing goes straight down into the ground. Where do we move into? We moved into these previous highs, and that is the exact low at 3,900. So that is quite beautiful. You reclaimed 39.50, 39.50, and 39.50 yesterday. That is a really nice reclaim. Now, what are you reclaiming right now, which is also very important and really not a bad look to the long side? Right here. Lows. Highs. Lows. Lows. Highs. Lows. Look at that. If this holds right here, you are going right here. If this holds at 40.20, you are going to 40.80. And you are going to come back up and test these rejection points, these lows, and probably that daily 20 SMA up in here. Right? And then that's the question of, is this a new rejection point? But that is extremely nice right now. Right in here. That's what needs to hold. GLD, yeah, right. Look at this level, 369, perfect. Yeah, it's really clean. It's really clean. Right here, see this? 369, 369. Look at that hold right there at 369. If you hold that 369, you're coming up into this 373 daily 20. Right here. Look at that reclaim. That is a reclaim of this low, these lows, these clean as hell rejections from yesterday, and look how you reclaimed right back above it. 369 on GLD. You hold that, you're going right to these highs and that daily 20 at 373.57. Right there. If you break back under it, then you're right back down. So 369 for me on GLD. Probably not a bad trade today, actually. Probably a watch. And I'm actually picking up some decent volume right now. So, yeah, 369. Big watch GLD. Okay. SMH, gone like the wind. Yeah, I mean, just totally gone. Only spot for me on this now is 360, 358. Pull back to this consolidation area here. That's it. I'm not going to chase this after a straight up move. Not going to happen. Pull back long, 358, 360. That's all I can recommend. Okay. Let's go into the IWM. Trying its best to hold on to this 248, 249 retest level. That would be a nice spot to hold for a little higher low move right there at these highs into lows. That would be very, very clean. If you break lower, it's not the end of the world. You still got the daily 20 and 245 demand here, which probably bounces. So, yeah, I'd watch this 248. I'd also really get interested in that 20 SMA below. Tesla. Beautiful day on Tesla yesterday. I recommend you go watch my video from yesterday as well. If you guys if you guys have come to this live stream, I have bored you with the same story for 2 months. Don't trade Tesla till it breaks the channel. Don't trade Tesla till it gets above 450. Stop trying to guess that it's going to break 450. Let it break 450 and then look for the new opportunity. Yesterday is the embodiment of that exact thing that I talk about. It cannot be any better. You did not have to trade Tesla before it broke 450. All you had to do yesterday was long it off that level, and that was it, right? I mean, yesterday it turns into a perfect exact demand, and bam, you go to the upside for almost 15 points on the intraday, right? That's it. Done. Instead of guessing that it's going to break this rejection point that keeps rejecting, why don't we just wait for it to turn into a hold level? Bam. Done. Trade's over, right? That's it. So, a really good example of not anticipating that something's going to break, but letting it break and watching as it holds it and turns it into a support, turning previous rejections into support. Bam. That was yesterday. That was the trade I took. There's no way I'm missing that trade. No way. So, really nice. Boom. 450. No Chinese finger trap. When we get outside of the trap, we long it on the hold above the trap high, right? Bam. And bam. Really clean. Today, you are trading into major, and I mean major, red alert. Here's your red alert. You are trading into major weekly highs today. So this could be a big day for Tesla. We need to see what happens at these weekly highs. Right here, see this high right here? I'm going to circle it right there. That is 465.33. This high right here, see this right here? That is 470.75. Those are two major weekly highs that I would assume there is some selling inside of that zone. If you fail this level, look for the pullback to 450 again as a beautiful long opportunity. If you get through this 470.75, I would assume that Tesla has a very strong move going on, and I would assume that you are looking at all-time highs on Tesla here, 488.54. And that's it. That story is complete. Welcome back to all-time highs, right? Then that story is complete. That is all dependent on whether we can break over this weekly channel high, this weekly supply zone right here. Here's your weekly supply zone, 465, 470.75. These are exact weekly highs, and inside of this zone, I would expect some selling pressure. And if Tesla does this today, instead of panicking, look to see if 450 turns into support. And then say, that's interesting. That's pretty interesting, right? That actually might be a new long opportunity off of 450 again. Instead of panicking and chasing at the highs like people here and here and here, look for that demand low and that higher low right here to turn into that new trading opportunity. It is better to long here than here. So this is a good move if you are bullish. Okay? Now, this is not a good move. I'll tell you this, right? This is where the Timmies and Jimmies come to play. If Tesla looks like this at 450 today and FOMC tanked the market, right? If we're looking like this today on FOMC and this is not even attempting to hold, then no, it's not a good long. So, again, this is the video I made 2 videos ago about price action versus levels. We have our levels, but we still need to read the price action there. Is the price action look like it's trying to hold? Is there an attempt of a hold here? I need to see that before I execute a trade. So just because we go back to 450 today does not mean that there's a long there. I need to see a move back to 450. I need to see maybe like some trapping action here, maybe create a nice high, and then I need to see a nice, right? Maybe you have a high like this. Maybe you have a downtrending VWAP, right? Something like this. And then what do I need to see? One of these Johns right here. One of these, right? One of these. And then I'm like, hey, okay. Look at that. 450 demand. Reclaim VWAP. Reclaim the rejection highs. This is an interesting entry point, right? Not this. I'm long. You need to see something happen here. Not just, oh, I'm long off this level. And then, bam, Desi's an idiot. That level didn't work, right? Need to see it happen. Okay? All right. Too much information. Let's move on. NVIDIA. I got no words, man. I don't. I have no words. I really don't know how you... there's not much for me to say here. The only thing that you could look for is a hold between 203 and 205. That's it. Right here. 203, 205. That's the only spot. It needs to hold yesterday's highs and these pre-market lows right here. It needs to turn this zone right here into a demand. Right in here. If you can turn that into a very strong demand today, if you can do one of these, that would be my long, to see if there's something down here to long. That's it. If you break under 203, I think you will fail back towards this 196 and come back to reality for a second. But that is probably not going to happen unless FOMC tanks the market. But 203, 205, that's the zone. Okay. AMD rejecting the exact all-time high, so just be careful of that today. 263.50, got to get above it. Let me put an alert here so I make sure I know. That's easy. That's an easy one. TSM, congratulations to everyone that paid attention on this one. We had the 4-hour flag on TSM yesterday. We talked about that 4-hour hold of 295 in the daily 20. Look at the result. Beautiful. Trade's over right there. Break, retest, long. Absolutely gorgeous right there. So that's done. Beautiful stuff. Broadcom, same thing. The 360 reclaim. We were talking about this 360. Here's your highs. Here's your 360 lows. Perfect bounce off 360 yesterday for a move into our 374 channel high. That trade is over as well. So those two trades are donezo. Congrats to anyone that caught them. 374.25 right there, right there. So be careful at these highs into FOMC. Probably a little bit of a cautionary thing that's happening there. Highs right before FOMC, sort of interesting. To me, pullbacks to 360 would probably be one of the only trades I'd look for, or a break and hold over all-time highs. Now you're just too close to all-time highs to be longing right into it. Qualcomm's been sort of dead. I'm sure this will wake up at some point soon. It's very likely to do so, so keep a little bit of an eye on Qualcomm. I'm sure it'll pull back and hold somewhere. MU didn't even... You know what it did pull back to is that wick high, huh? Yeah, I didn't get my alert on MU to 211. I would have liked... We talked about this being a nice pullback opportunity, but it didn't go back enough for me. It looks like this... Yeah, it looks like it was this wick high at 214. That was it. Yeah, that's pretty damn perfect. So it wasn't as low as I wanted it to go. It was as low as that wick high right there. And there it goes. Look at how perfect. So sometimes people ask me, like, you know, this is a really good, here's a really good education for you guys. I get a lot of questions like, do you use the wicks or do you use like the bodies of the candles? I can't answer that question. Why? Why can't I answer that question? Because if I told you to just use the bodies of the candles, well, guess what? Look at this. So it's not the same every time. That's the thing that is probably one of the most difficult. That's one of the most difficult facts about trading for a lot of people. It is not the same every time. Nothing works every time. You can't answer a lot of questions. And that really, like, there is a type of person where that type of leniency and that type of lack of structure can drive someone crazy, right? Like, there's a type of person that needs, this is what's going to happen. And if I see this, I do this, and this is absolutely the result. Some people can't deal with the fact that, yeah, you could do everything right and still lose money, right? Like, you could do everything right and still lose money. You could do everything wrong and make money. So that's one of the harder parts about trading, right? Like, if someone tells you in there, hey, I'm going to sell you a course and I'm going to say you have to use the full bodies of the candles, the wicks are irrelevant. Wrong, right? Look at this. The wick's very irrelevant there. That is an exact wick high holding. That's perfect, right? So we watch everything. We understand that the market is, at different times, there's different events that occur and different ways things happen. But, here's a good example for you guys, right? I get this question a lot. Do I chart out the wick highs or do I chart out the full body candle highs? Well, both, to be honest. Both, because look at this example. So I did not have it drawn here. I had it drawn like right down here at the 210, 211, because I felt like that was a little bit more of a structured spot, right? That to me, I ignored that wick. Well, guess what? It held it. So, yep, it'd be like that sometimes. Sure do. Okay. ARM, sort of interesting today. I want to show you this. I actually really like this on ARM today. Daily chart pullback to these previous highs. Hourly chart looking like a potential break and retest here. I actually really like this setup today. Big time watch. Previous highs, look at this little pullback hold. Break, retest. If this becomes a new low, like this a lot. With semiconductor strength, watch ARM 172, 173 today. Think that's sort of interesting. Sort of a sleeper. Not a lot of people watching it. I would keep an eye on that. TSM, absolute. Oh, we already went TSM, right? No, did we? TSM, either way, absolutely perfection. Daily 20. I mean, just again, daily 20. Bam, daily 20. You guys hear me say daily 20. How many times have I said daily 20 in my last 5 years of my life? Probably about 5,000 times. Okay, Apple, 267 is the only pullback level I want. Waiting for that. Meta needs to get over previous day highs again. Nice defense on Meta, though, right? Something has changed here. Look at the Zuckerberg coming back to life a little bit yesterday. The Zuckerberg typically just sort of pukes, but look at what it did yesterday. Big tank job, as it normally does. So I was like, oh, here we go again. Tank job on Meta. And then, surprisingly, pretty nice hold right at that daily 50 and right at that major demand at 745 that we had. So that's actually quite nice on Meta. Pretty decent hold there. I would watch that. Amazon, 228. That has to hold for me today. Really not that interested in this one. Google, really not that interested. Microsoft, needs to come back to 538. Really not that interested. Palantir is definitely building the correct higher low here. So I would assume you're going to see Palantir soon have one of those days because Palantir is absolutely building the correct demand low, right? Look at this. You can, I think, ignore 190 if I was to be fully honest, even though I know it is a sexy level. The real level here is these highs. See these highs right here? Look at these lows. This is building a very good consolidation above this structure. So this looks really good. I think this is only a matter of time. Now, the only problem is everything has earnings next week. So does Palantir make a move before earnings? I'm unsure. Maybe if we can get a break above these highs today, we could look for it. But I think only a matter of time for Palantir here. This is a very good consolidation above this channel high. So definitely interesting. Oklo did not break over 148, so I'm not interested there. ASTS, I am very interested in ASTS. I'm actually quite long ASTS right now with a lot of shares. I have 1,000 shares of ASTS. And wow, it's going up right now. That's very nice. Okay, come on, ASTS. Go for me. I am long 1,000 shares of ASTS, and I am long December calls. And I closed the day red on them, but I am holding strong here. And someone gave me a rolling eyes face on my trade. Well, oh well. Here's my positions: December 80 call and 1,000 shares of ASTS. Why did I take this trade? Hopefully it goes higher today. It looks good right now, but we'll see. Maybe it goes straight back down. But it's a beautiful setup. It's a beautiful setup. So I'm taking it. This is a beautiful little reclaim ripper setup. You have highs here, you have lows here, you have major rejections all right here. You have a break, you have a retest, and that is a long for me, right? How do I say, it's like I talk about this setup 1,000 times a day, and if I see it, what am I going to do? Not take it? What am I going to chicken out? If I see it, I'm going to take it, right? If I'm around later day and I see it and I feel like I want to put some risk on, if this is the setup, I'm taking the setup, right? There's no questions asked here for me. Here's a low, here's a high, here's major highs. You have a break above that level. You have a reclaim of these rejection points right here. Reclaim. You have a pullback to it. And there is every reason to long this with a stop loss under 75. Every reason for me. So we'll see, right? We'll see now if it plays. That's all. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does. But, that's for me a trade. So I'm going to try it. I tried it with some shares. I like the shares. I like the shares instead of the options. I don't have much in the options. I have more in the shares. And you can see ASTS has given back everything. So that is a pointless move, and we'll have to see if it plays later in the day. But as long as ASTS is over 75 for me right here, that would be a nice trade today. See these highs? See these highs? See these lows? Right there is exactly where I want to see it hold. On a little bam, bam, bam. This is the exact same trade as TSM. Look at TSM. Obviously, TSM is a semi, so TSM is probably going to be stronger than ASML, but I'm sorry, stronger than ASTS, but this is the same exact concepts, right? Look at this. Here, here, break, retest, previous high, into low, flag, breakout. So this is another situation where I could do everything right here and see the exact same setup, double, triple top highs, into lows, break, retest, flag, breakout, right? So I could do everything right here, and this could do this. F you, Desi, right? And I'll be like, well, what the hell? But that is not going to stop me from taking that setup, right? Because I know it works. But I also know that there's a level of uncertainty in the market, and things could cause certain situations to fail. But that does not stop me from taking that trade. Okay? That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to sing for you on this stream. Sorry. 148 hood. It's got to break. Let me put an alert there. All right, guys. That's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed. The ES is failing this double top high up here. So we definitely do have a supply zone now up in here. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to have to play that song now. Rejection, rejection, rejection. So that is definitely the spot to watch today. Yeah. Okay. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Ahim, thank you, my friend, for joining the coffee fund. I appreciate that. Have a great trading day. Nokia. Yeah, I saw that news with NVIDIA. I mean, guys, there's no trading this, okay? These stocks, I say this all the time. If you want to be a part of a potential Nokia upside on NVIDIA news, buy the shares. Buy the shares and stop looking at it. You can't trade this on an intraday basis. There's going to be so many random things that happen like this today that are just going to make it near impossible to trade on the option side with any type of short-term expiration. If you're like, hey, I want to put risk on and I like this with Nokia and NVIDIA, buy the shares or buy long-dated options and close your eyes. That's it. There really is no technical analysis that can show you that whether this is going to be a successful move higher for Nokia. It's really, I'm being serious. Like, I have no clue. So you either buy it or you don't. You either buy it or you don't. That's really it. Okay. No options on it? Yeah, figured. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Traders get paid to react, not predict. Go watch my video from yesterday. What's the quote? He who lives by the crystal ball is destined to eat ground glass. We do not live by the crystal ball. We live by our analysis. We live by a system, and we stick to that system regardless if it fails us on certain occasions. And we don't lose confidence. We stay mentally strong. We stay disciplined. And that is that. Have a fantastic trading day. I'll be with the mentorship group today. It's Wednesday. So Boom Boom Wednesday, ADR inside the community. 3-day event. Don't forget. In November. Check out the link down in the description to get your free tickets. Free tickets. And that's about it. See you guys tomorrow.